Hello and welcome to After Sound Review, and this is my review for T-Force Yuan Li. If you have actually seen my review for the pre-final version, this is the final version, and just skip this part and go straight to the frequency response because the build and fit is exactly the same. But if you are first watching this, then I should say, just like usual, I will review them from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. For the build quality for this T-Force Yuan Li is nothing short of amazing. It's all using metal and feels quite, I'm not saying it's heavy, but you can feel there's definitely a convincing weight to it. It's not really big, and also it's all full metal to the nozzle part, so it all very convincing. And the connector is using 2-pin connectors, and the cable, yeah, it actually reminds me of the Thin Hi-Fi T4 somehow. It's only 2 strand and twisted on the lower ends. Even though it's not really flexible like this, it's quite springy, but for me, it somehow feels quite thick and feels durable too. As for the fit, for me, they are really good. I have small Asian ears, and for me, they fit perfectly in my ears. I have tried to wear them for hours and find myself really enjoyable wearing them. So it's a really good fit. Okay, when it comes to frequency response for this T-Force Yuan Li, maybe I could say that it is somehow mild U-shaped-ish with emphasis more in the sub-bass and also a little bit on the upper mid-range, but after that, there's definitely treble rolled off around this area. And it is somehow really similar to the frequency response of the Harmon-ish IM such as Moondrop Aria, but it has definitely more cut in the upper mid-range, that giving it somehow warmer mid-range. And this is how is it compared to the first version of the T-Force Yuan Li, the pre-final version. As you can see that the pre-final version has more upper mid-range around this area, and like my review before, the T-Force Yuan Li pre-final version has much more upper mid-range that make it much more shouty and also thinner in vocal. And comparing them with this Moondrop Aria, like I said before, it is somehow similar, but the main difference is more on the upper mid-range around this part. The cut, the roll off starts sooner in this T-Force Yuan Li. For me, it's giving somehow warmer vocal, less shouty from the mid-range for like the Aria. And also comparing again with this Wizard He01. The Wizard He01 has the most upper mid-range around this area, but after that, the treble roll off is pretty significant. And for me, this is somehow making it not shouty, but still leaning towards brighter vocal, leaning towards thinner vocal that will benefit female acoustic vocal somehow. But for me, Yuan Li is simply more balanced. And again, back to the frequency response, it is simply a really well balanced mild U-shape, maybe you can say, for the frequency response. So when it comes to the sound, I have tried them using my kxxs 5K AFX DSD and also my IBSO DX160, and I have tried them also using my phone, the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and I should say that they are not really easy to drive, so I definitely not recommend you to try them using your phone only. I recommend you to try them using high power source, and if you have a balanced cable, I definitely encourage you to try them because it definitely scales the sound for this T-Force Yuan Li. Okay, talking about the whole tonality of this T-Force Yuan Li, I should say it is somehow the more correct Harmon-ish IM, because the upper mid-range that might get shouty for some people is somehow more balanced in this T-Force Yuan Li. Okay, talking about the bass first. It is a punchy bass. It could dig deep. I'm not saying this is a bass head quantity, but the bass quality and also the punch is really good. So if you are a fan of high quality bass, for me this is one of them. When I hear EDMs or maybe pop music, I truly enjoy how they deliver the bass. It's really punchy and also deep, and it's not sluggish. Even though I played rock music at them, I'm not saying that they are super fast, but for me they are really natural and really high quality, especially at its price point around $100 only. Talking about mid-range, this might be my favorite for the mid-range for this price, because how balanced it sounds no matter what kind of vocal you throw at them. Like I said, if you are already accustomed to maybe harmonish IMs like the Moondrop, kxxs or Moondrop area, for me this is the more balanced version of them. The vocal is not as, the upper mid-range especially, is not as forward as those. It has more balance, less upper mid-range, and more thick vocal for male vocals, and also less shouty vocal for female. So for me it's really balanced. Whether if you tried maybe some shouty songs at them like Ed Sheeran, Galway Girl, or maybe Ariana Grande, or even Lady Gaga, you know, some pop from Eastern music like J-pop or K-pop or even Chinese pop, for me they are sounds really well balanced in this T-Force Yuan Li. For me, yeah, I just really love the vocal at this price point. It's just so balanced and well sounding and also smooth for me. And also talking about the treble, I'm not saying it's really well extended, but the detail is there, and also the presence of the cymbal sounds really natural, and hearing violins and also saxophone, again, natural is maybe my key point for this T-Force Yuan Li. So it's a huge step up from the pre-final, where I think the pre-final is much more shoutier than this. This I am really well tuned. And now the technicality is also really good when it comes to soundstage. It could give a really good soundstage and also quite good separation at its price point. Now I have to compare them first, especially with the pre-final Yuan Li here. For me, the pre-final version here, they look exactly the same, by the way. The pre-final version is easier to drive somehow, but much more shoutier in the upper mid-range. That makes me hard to hear them for a long time, because when I hear vocals from Ed Sheeran, Galway Girl, oh, I cannot even hear the intro. It just sounds so format in my ears, it just feels quite intense. But in this one, the difference is like night and day. It's so much smoother and it's so much have more weight to the vocal. So good job Yuan Li, even though it's a little bit hard to drive now, but the overall tonality is much more better. Comparing them with this Wizard He01, for me, I'm sorry Wizard He01, even though I love you, but you don't have any point to win against this Yuan Li. Yuan Li is just simply better all in resolution, soundstage, better bass depth, and also more balanced vocal, and also more detailed treble. So I don't think that Wizard He01 could win against this Yuan Li, but maybe one thing only from the Wizard He01 that could be your choice is because the vocal is more forward and it's more suitable for me for hearing acoustic music like Joyce Chu, just a woman voice, I mean female vocal, and also guitar or something like that. It's just easier to listen in this Wizard He01, while the Yuan Li definitely giving you more massive voice and also more balance and yeah, simply better resolution. And comparing them with this kxxs, wow, this is actually blows my mind, because here's the thing. I admit that kxxs might not be the best I am at its price point now, but because of how well tuned it is and how coherent and natural they sound for my ears, I still keep them until this day. And for me, even though they have around $100 difference, the kxxs is literally almost twice the price of the Yuan Li, but for me the resolution level, soundstage, and also separation, they are all on the same level. Yeah, it's quite shocking for me, but that's the truth. And even the Yuan Li sounds more, it sounds more natural. It is less shouty compared to the kxxs. Male vocal especially, it has more weight to it and also thicker in the body. But it's a little bit crispier sounding, might be a little bit airier sounding in the kxxs. But nevertheless, for me, they sound quite similar actually. Like the frequency response itself, they both are quite harmonish. But the main difference for me, the Yuan Li is somehow more pleasing in vocal. It has better thickness on it. And comparing them with this, so yeah, it's quite shocking that the kxxs actually has the same level as this Yuan Li. And comparing them with the Oxygen, I believe that some of you will ask about that. And for me, this Oxygen still takes the lead with sheer resolution and also better separation. And one thing that you will notice at first, that how Oxygen is so much more airier and also more detailed in the treble area. Yes, Oxygen has more detailed and presence in the treble area, so if you play songs like violin or maybe hearing detail from the cymbal, for me, Oxygen is definitely still better and above the Yuan Li. Also, the separation level, when you hear orchestral music from Hans Zimmer, for example, it's more separated and it's more cleaner in Oxygen. So it's not on the same level as Oxygen, but maybe I should say that Oxygen, I believe that some of you consider Oxygen as a little bit shouty. I should say that the male vocal sounds, again, it is more thicker and for me more natural in this Yuan Li. So for me, Oxygen is still ahead when it comes to sheer resolution and also separation. But simply for some people, I believe that Yuan Li will be more balanced sounding for the two of them. But for my personal choice, I still like Oxygen better. Nevertheless, still, when it comes to price versus performance, for me, this Yuan Li is definitely the champion. So for me, this T-Force Yuan Li is really great. Let's talk about the pros first. They build and fit like a champion. It's just maybe one of the best that I've tried at this price point. It's all made of metal, but it's not really bulky and it fits really great in my small Asian ears. And also for me, it has really good and versatile tonality. The bass is punchy, vocal is smooth and quite half full-bodied. And also the treble again is smooth. It's just a really versatile kind of tonality, accompanied with good separation level and also soundstage. And when talking about the cons, maybe they are a little bit hard to drive, and I'm absolutely not recommending you to try them using phone. I definitely encourage you to try them using a powerful source, and if you have balanced cable, it will be very much recommended for you to try them using balance, because they are really showing their capabilities with balanced cable and with powerful source. Okay, I think that's all for me, this Yuan Li. I really love it. And if you have seen my first review for the pre-final version, I actually don't really like it because of how shouty they are for me. But this final version is just really good. Okay, I hope you'll enjoy this review. If you have any question, please write down in the comment below, and see you next time. Bye bye.